afternoon.
First of all, my name is Tom Curry. I'm the president of the Bahama Taxi Union. And we have various concerns that are faces today that need to be dealt with immediately. Some of our concerns today are increase of taxi fare. We was at the Prime Minister's office sometime in December 2nd, 2018, asking for increase of taxi fare. A little before the general election, Nassau applied for increase of taxi fare. They got it. We agitated for it as well, and it never came to us. So we're wondering why Grand Bahama always getting put on the back burner. Nassau got it 2 years ago. Just recently, we applied back to the government in July 23rd, 2018, question about the taxi fare. It still hasn't came to us as yet. We also had meetings with Mr. Thompson, President Thompson, a series of meetings, not one, not two, but 3 or 4, which I have documents to prove. He told us it already passed in the House, in Parliament, but we yet to get it. If it passed, why they ain't giving the taxi drivers what really earned to them? What's the whole up? At the same time, the taxi drivers, they're hurting. Their family hurting. They need money to take care of the family. Right now, we have a situation right now with inspection, where you're putting pressure on my drivers there, and then you have people taking away jobs left, right, and center. If you go around the hotels, the resorts, you have people hacking, people in bonded cars. You go to the airport, I have drivers, so they're suffocating, suffering, only making 1 job a day. How you could survive, how you could take care of your family making 1 job a day. Some don't go, some don't make none. They come out 6 and 5 o'clock in the morning, pound the car to get 1 job. And you go to the airport right now, it's like a graveyard. You walk in the terminal, no one even walk in the terminal. Staff, flight of guests. You go to the ship, the little that comes into the ship, we can take advantage of. But if you look at the shipyard, we have the shipyard, the container port, we have a serious problem there as well, where we have escape comes in there. These people get so big now that they put in luggage cart in the back of their vans. That's terrible. These people don't have no franchise, no type of license to take people from point A to B. But still they use bonded vehicles and carrying these passengers, and which the law, the road traffic knows that these people are doing wrong, but nobody enforcing the law. But everything a taxi driver do, they're on the case immediately. But these people breaking the law every day. They here to take the crew. They don't have that in their hand to say, look here, I come to pick up X, Y, Z. Anybody that comes on the flight, whether it's crew or whether it's contractors, normally contractors used to, for years, they would go out riding taxi. They come to pick up their crew, they'll come pick up the 1 or 2 crew. Now we have over 800-900 contractors coming a week, and they charging those people $25 or so to take them to their site, and that's taxi jobs. That's wrong. Road traffic know about it. We made numerous complaints to road traffic department. They did nothing about it. So we get hit in every sector. If you hit from the shipyard, you go around the hotel, it's the same thing. We have people in the hotel on the front desk that's selling taxi jobs and choosing their particular taxi to pick them up and take them on sightseeing tours in different areas, as well as currency banks. That's wrong. We get hit in every section. We sent several photos to the Minister of Tourism, Ministry of Tourism, and as well as Mr. Buru in road traffic, where they do illegal practices on those cruise ships. I'm talking right now about the Celebration, the Classica, and Valeria, where they sell these activities as they come into this port, which is illegal. When the Road Traffic Act states that it must be booked a day before the journey occurred. And they know this ain't just not carrying, this was years. Why these people who in place, why the authorities cannot make sure that these people be governed by the rules and regulations of the land. You know they're doing it and you refuse to stop it. Mr. Thompson, Crazy Thompson, who is the minister of this island, who we had over 4 meetings with, he told us himself that what they're doing is wrong. But what is he doing to stop it? He spoke to them, he told them those people what comes out there and work on the ship should be taxi job, but they ain't listening to him. So who they listen to? We wrote a letter to the Prime Minister, we left a letter to the Prime Minister on these issues here, on the increase of rates, on the shipyard issue, on the celebration issue, on the malaria issue. All of those we haven't heard nothing from the Prime Ministers yet. So all of these concerns was already addressed. Now we're looking for answers. And if we don't get answers, we would have to do something drastic.
Yes.
And I talking immediately because we were suffering too long. And enough is enough. So we must take action. So I'm going to give somebody else some time to speak now. I'll give it to Mr. Rowe. I think he wants to speak on the adventures issue, which is very important to us as well, the booking on the ground.
My name is Wayne Roll. I'm a trustee of the Grand Bahama Taxi Union. My problem is Forbes Charter and Bahamas Adventures. Here it is. We have a private restaurant and bar that has sent their employees to the harbor to solicit taxi jobs, put it on Forbes Charter bus, and take them up to Bahamas Adventures. That's been going on now for the last 6-7 years. When they started, they had 2 or 3 people. They moved from that to about 10. Now they have over 20. There were 20 people that they send from Bahamas Adventures to the harbor, solicit the jobs, put them in Forbes Charter bus, and take them to Bahamas Adventures. Another thing, they have a moratorium on taxi plates and private franchise and public service. They have a moratorium on public service vehicles, period, in Grand Bahama from 1992 to now. What the private charter companies are doing is bringing in these vehicles on them, ping the name on the side of it, and operate. You go to the government and say, listen, these vehicles aren't franchised. Why are they still allowed to take these passengers? Oh, it's higher than us. We can't do nothing about that. And that's illegal. Nobody should be able to break the laws of this country. And that's what they do. Every day, the boat come in, bring in 3,000, 4,000 passengers. We're getting 400 people out of the 4,000 passengers. You see the bus moving up and down all day because they're allowed to go on board the ship, solicit the jobs, put them in the buses. And that's been going on for years. We spoke to everybody from the Prime Minister all the way down to the local road traffic officer. We spoke to 3 different controllers in Grand Bahama. That's how long we've been fighting this, with no results. We went to Customs and Immigration to find out why these people are going on board the cruise ship. They stopped them from going on board the ship. For one day, they stopped them. When they stopped them from going on board the cruise ship, that's the only day we got our jobs. But they're right back on the ship now, doing the same thing again.
Good evening. My name is Clement Pendler, Transportation General of the Grand Bahama Taxi Union. We're concerned about the harbor, all the cruise ships that we have in the harbor, what is going on with those cruise ships. Once those folks are already go on those buses and leave the harbor, the ship are telling those folks that they cannot come to book is not safe. So we're left for the government to look into that. Besides that, we have other private charter coming into the Yolan area, not the Yolan area, sorry, into the area where we load for the cabs. They solicit on the ground, it takes them out, they're not being boarded. The minute the driver do it, there's pressure on us. Another issue I have is with the drivers them having a problem licensing the vehicles, and the vehicles are not in condition for working. If the government could allow them to give us a break and tell these drivers can do better. What's going on now is that some of these drivers get 1 job for the week. Sometimes 4 jobs for the whole month. So I don't think it's impossible to take care of the family and fix this vehicle the way it should be. I agree, some of the vehicles need to be updated, but I think they should work with the drivers. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Carla Rose. I'm a trustee of the Grand Bahama Taxi Union. I'm just going to touch bases on something with the Agla had in the news recently on the increase in tourism. We do have an increase on tourism, but for Grand Bahama, the taxi drivers, we're not feeling the increase. So I'm just going to give you a scenario how it's going on with us. For instance, we have a ship came in here with 3,100 people. If you look at it, we're getting less than 20%. We have a lineup system, and each car mostly get 12 persons to a car. So just the other day we had a ship in with 3,100. We had 2 lines move. So basically that's only 480 or 3,100. So when they said, and then he make a statement in the news that the taxi drivers is booming, but the taxi driver putting luggage, tourism in the car. It's not for us. The majority of the passengers goes on the bus. So that is not, even the overnight, he said the increase. The overnight, the increase is in. But if you go by the airport on Saturdays and Friday when the flights do come down, the majority of people will come off the flights, they go in the buses. And what the buses don't take, like they say, in-state take also. So that is something that we need the government to look into, because like we said, we have families, we have mortgages, we have school fees to pay, and we wouldn't be able to do it with this at this rate. And I also want to touch down with the bringing in the vehicles. I know they have you can bring a vehicle for 3 years old. I think it when the PLP was in, I'm not sure. They had 5 years. 5 years you could bring a vehicle duty free. Yeah, we need them to look into that too.
First Vice Mayor.
I walk on the side. Sorry.
Where you gonna be? Okay. You work around you.
Renewed.
Go ahead.
Rodney Forbes, First Vice President of the Grand Bahama Taxi Union. And I want to call on the powers that be to seriously take into consideration the plight of the taxi drivers here in Grand Bahama. It just seems as though while the grass is growing and the cows are starving, and it's not getting any better. We are small business owners operating taxis. We have bills, mortgages, we have families, and it just seems as though we're being overlooked, we're being taken for granted, we're being taken and we're being ignored. And so I'm calling on the powers that be to act swiftly on our behalf, I mean forthwith, because it is not getting any better for us in Grand Bahama, in the taxi industry. Thank you.
Okay, after him, is there anybody else down here who's from school?
Nobody coming. I like that. I like that question.
Yeah.
Who's there?
Anyway,
Kirkland Russell, Vice President, Commonwealth of the Bahamas Trade Union Congress. I am here today on behalf of the unions and indeed the coalition of unions here on Grand Bahama, including my colleagues from the NCTB. We stand hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder with the Grand Bahama Taxi Cab Union and their members. We believe that it is time in Grand Bahama for the taxi cab drivers who play an integral role in the tourist industry in this country to be treated fairly, to be given an equitable share. I can recall last year, June, I think it was June 4th, when the Minister for Grand Bahama announced that there was a new agreement between Paradise Cruise, inclusive of all of their cruise lines, that would increase businesses for taxi drivers up to $40,000 per month. This is not happening. As a matter of fact, since that day, things have gotten worse for the taxi drivers. We have an issue with livery cars and bonded vehicles and private companies literally stealing, I say it again, literally stealing the jobs from the taxi drivers. The taxi drivers are only asking for one simple thing, that the law of the land be followed. That can't be an unreasonable position for these taxi drivers and the union to put forward. If the road traffic act say that certain things and certain privileges belongs to the taxi drivers, then we call on the powers to be to enforce it. The taxi drivers are not asking for hog share. They are not asking for anything that is unreasonable. And what is so sad is from Sir Clifford Darling those days to Spike Markey, to Woodside, to Kempy, to Jones, now to the current president. Fight continue over the same issues involving the taxi drivers in Grand Bahama. And so I think it is fair for me to say that enough is enough. And I say without fear of contradiction that we are going to give the powers, and I say we, because like I said, we joined with the taxi drivers. We are going to give the powers to be and those responsible a reasonable amount of time to come up with a proper plan and a proper solution that is fair to these taxi drivers. And I'm talking about by the time we get to Labor Day, I want some announcement to be made pertaining to these taxi drivers. That's June 7th. If there is no deal, I encourage those that are suffering, those that cannot feed their families, those that cannot get a job, those that can only get one job per week, those that cannot license their cars, those that cannot pay their kids' school fees, those that cannot pay their rent, those that cannot pay their mortgage. I'm talking about the taxi drivers because they're the only ones who are suffering. Everybody else is enjoying the fat of the land. And so I call for unity, I call for solidarity, and again, we are being fair and we are being reasonable. Fix the problem, come up with the solution, or we can help you fix the problem.
Things around now. You should have heard that.
When you're ready.
Rudolph Stubbs, trade unionist and member of the Coalition of Trade Unions here on Grand Bahama. Today we stand with our fellow brothers and sisters of the Grand Bahama Taxi Union who have been fighting a plight for decades. It is so unfortunate, and why do I say it's unfortunate? Because just recently, the Minister of Tourism made a public statement, and he said that the tourism industry in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is thriving. It has improved greatly. And so I say, if that's the case, then where is the trickle-down effect? What happened to the taxi drivers? What happened to the straw vendors? What happened to the hotel workers and the local musicians here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? Who makes up the tourism industry? Who the tourists wants to come to the Bahamas to voice up that interaction with before they even go over the hill to find out where the people them live, or before they even make a decision to say, I'm going into an inclusive property whoever that is who have that inclusive property, because I believe that, truly speaking, inclusive properties that cater to tourists should not be in the Bahamas. Okay? Because if you understand how our tourism industry came about, and the model of our tourism industry, the taxi drivers, the straw vendors, the hotel workers, and the musicians, and the people, most of all, plays a very integral part in keeping our tourism product number one. But it's so unfortunate that we have to continuously fight and fight and fight so that the common man and the common woman be able to have bread to put on their table. It is so unfortunate. And so I say, if the government doesn't have any vision and any hope for the dreams and aspirations of its people, then we know exactly what to do. And so don't forget, if they tell you the handwriting is on the wall, my brother, the handwriting is on the wall. And so I stand here today as a trade unionist supporting my brothers and sisters in the Grand Bahama Taxi Union. The struggle continues, and we must fight until we win. Because what is being done is unjustifiable, and it will not be justifiable until we are certain that the taxi drivers can put food on their table. Thank you so much.
I'm trying to take a good shot.